And I think it is one of the most glaring examples of a fight of asymmetric powers. Probably Gandhi was a great strategist, and he could just think that in this asymmetrical war, probably his tools will have to be different. Not what was being seen on the surface of the things that was happening and the way that he was contributing, but what was happening underneath at the subterranean level of Gandhi as a person. How his personal life was evolving and was taking place, the events in his life were taking place when all these major events, the three campaigns, Satyagraha and all these things were going on, the Namak Andolan and others. But then there was something as tumultuous, as important and as the things that was happening in Gandhi's personal life and the way his thinking was getting evolved. He's also a great observer of human behavior. And you could also see that how the personal attributes, how the personal thinking, how the personal compulsions add to the complexities of the life and how did it affect the political thinking and the ways of life of Gandhi, including his belief systems. He starts his book, and which I was deeply impressed with, about the Hindu Swaraj, which taught gospel of love in place of hate, non-violence instead of violence, and challenges brute force with soul force. British called it seditious and banned the book. And the author says that that is what added to its popularity and made it much better known than it would have otherwise been. But now I look at it from a different point of view. There is a setting, and it is a colonial setting in which there is a mighty British power, and I think it is one of the most glaring examples of a fight of asymmetric powers, what we call today as an asymmetric warfare. Asymmetric warfare is that what does a weaker partner fight the war? And what are the chances of his success against a much powerful adversity? Probably Gandhi was a great strategist. He could understand and he could just think that in this asymmetrical war, probably his tools will have to be different. After Second World War, as late as this, that people started realizing that the brute force, if it has to be countered, whether there could be other alternatives. And in the 90s, the concept of the soft power emerged, with Joseph Nye telling and being applauded as a great propounder of a new theory of power. Your power is your ability to affect your adversary in the way that you want it to be affected. If I want you to do something and you can do what I want you to do, that is the power that I wield over you. Second war and the wars before and after that started proving that the military power, the brute power, is the most cost-ineffective instrument of achieving your political objectives. Whether the Americans could try it in Vietnam or in Afghanistan, or the Soviet Union in Afghanistan and others, they were asymmetric powers, but they found that the lesser power were able to vanquish them. But there are very few examples where the soft power has been able to dominate the hard power of an asymmetry, in an asymmetric warfare. Now, Gandhi was a very perfect practitioner of that. He could realize that his moral force, what we call as the soft power today is your moral force, the force and power of your culture, your civilization, your values and others, that would be able to defeat and vanquish a much more powerful hard power. And now, increasingly much more research and work is being done about how do the great powers start becoming the dominant power by exercising the soft power. And this actually started when in the 90s it appeared that there may be a decline of the major powers with the Soviet Union disintegrating and the United States emerging as a single power, but being dominated increasingly by the emergence of the new power centers. And that is the time when the power of your moral strength to defeat a mighty empire. Probably to most, it would have looked impossible, even in much later decades. But even at that time, the fact that he had the faith and he had the confidence that it can challenge and it can achieve what he wanted to achieve against his adversary. Today, it may look to us something, we take it for given because this has happened in history. Probably after that, it happened in South Africa. So there have been a couple of other examples that followed. But there are very few examples, that is, I could find none, where the soft power of that time could distinguish as mighty a power as the British Empire, and so effectively. He not only fought it effectively, but he won it. And this power game itself is a matter which probably is a matter of research. If somebody could write the district of Gandhi about my experiments with soft power, and then redefine what Joseph Ney and the various stream of philosophers thereafter had talked about the soft power, and not only the soft power, the modern version of it which is coming as a smart power. That is, you combine the soft power and the hard power in such a permutation, combination, alternations and different combinations, that is, you are able to achieve the optimal result. I'm not very sure how much Gandhi really consciously was fully opposed to the people who were exercised the hard power. He did not support them. He did not stand by them. But probably he was not that much against both. Let it coexist. He was not also against probably some of the revolutionaries. He did not approve their ways, but he did not condemn them, both for their intent and for this thing. It added that soft power blended with this hard power actually became the India's smart power. And it has this India's smart power that in the post-war period, the Britishers thought that probably with so many Indians who had returned victorious after the Second World War and probably were resentful because of the Gandhi's message and the Gandhi's this thing that they changed the whole thinking in the country, that these troops may not remain as loyal to them as the Britishers thought them to be. And therefore, with the uprising in Karachi, this thing, then in Jabalpur and in other places, when the small things started and the ironies things started coming up, that combination of hard power and small soft power, which became the India's smart power of that time, which eventually was responsible for its victory against an adversary. So what a great strategician and what a great warrior he was of his time, who could think straight, who could think something much beyond his times, and who could effectively use that power so effectively against a very, very mighty power. So I think this is a very great tribute to this thing, and this idea comes out of Mr. Akbar's book when we go through that and we see that how in his very, very inimitable way and very, very ordinary way, how could he achieve those extraordinary results. And what a great warrior and what a great man of conviction he was. The same thing comes out when we see about how his belief system was shaping his ideology, was shaping his political choices and the preferences that he made and the decisions that he took. So I think this is the time to pay tribute, of course, to the great Mahatma who took this country not only to its independence, but gave it an identity of which we all are proud today. But I must also say that it's a great tribute to Mr. Akbar's this thing today, that he's written a book on Mahatma, which probably you all will enjoy reading. It's a very, very enjoyable reading. It's something that we probably can draw various lessons in the way that